Cause like all that matters is that God loves me. Beyond my body, it's more to me. I feel best when my soul is free. Ooh, just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me. Ooh, I am, yeah, can't you see? I feel best when my soul is free. Beyond my body, can't you see? All that matters is that God loves me. Ooh, just let me be. Cause like it or not, but God loves me.
Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Indeed, all praise and adoration and glorification is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. May his peace and blessings continue to be on Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on his household, his companions, and upon all Muslims till the end of time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mutiat Urulubalogun and you're welcome to another edition of Wise Ladies. Today I'm going to start today's episode with a story. It actually even happened yesterday. It rained yesterday and I went out and the road was very muddy. And I had to look for places to put my feet so as not to slip and so as not to get dirty. And then I remember the hadith or a particular occurrence that happened during the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, when he asked a companion to tell him what taqwa is. And the companion asked him, "Oh Umar, have you walked on a road on which there are several thorns on it? How did you walk on that road?" And Umar said you had to be very careful, that he would lift up his garment and look for places to put his feet so that it would not be pricked by the thorns. And this is what taqwa is. Today on Wise Ladies, we are going to be discussing about taqwa, that is loosely translated as fear of Allah. And with me in the studios, I have my Wise Ladies. But before then, we'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll talk about so that you may fear him. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Welcome back. And this is still Wise Ladies. We are going to talk about taqwa today, which some people call the fear of Allah. And we are going to seek for ways that will help us so that we may fear Allah. And with me today in the studios, I have my Wise Ladies. Here is my sister, Sister Halima Atondashuremi. Salaam alaikum rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
She's a state counsel with Lagos State Ministry of Justice. And I have also a known face in the house, Ajia Rukoya Adubia Yobisi, and she's a media practitioner. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, fear of Allah. Sister Halima, what is it? I know it's loosely translated to be fear of Allah, but what is taqwa?
Taqwa in Islam and taqwa according to how the Prophet Sallam has taught us. Taqwa could mean and is particularly reverence for Allah. Having reverence for Allah, you know, it is synonymous to fearing Allah, but the best could be that having reverence for Allah. When you have reverence for Allah, you do not do what He doesn't enjoin you. You know, you love and hate for His sake alone, even when it is against your wish. Imagine reverence of a wife to a husband, reverence of a child to his parents, reverence of a boss, of a servant to his boss. You know, and the reverence for Allah is beyond all that. It is knowing Him as your Lord, as your Rabb, and then knowing that He created you out of nothing, and then knowing that you're only in existence because He wants you to be. And then loving and hating for His sake alone. That is what we can regard as taqwa.
Sister Rukoya, what do you think?
Well, like she said, I feel for me, taqwa is being fearful when nobody is around you. When you are in a closed door and you still decide to do things for Allah's sake, regardless of the fact that nobody is seeing you. Taqwa is when you have the opportunity of taking more than what ought to be yours, and then you still decide to take within that which is rightly yours and leave that which is not yours for Allah's sake alone. That is taqwa.
So in essence, taqwa is that which you display and that which you do not even display in front of people. So it is easy for you to test if you really have taqwa Allah when you are in the secret, and you will not do those things that displeases Allah subhanallah.
Yes.
So
And it is easy to know when you're doing good. Because even the Prophet ﷺ has told us, Inna halal bayyin, inna haram bayyin. What is good, what is halal is clear. What is haram is clear. What makes it clear? Is a qalb. It's a qalb, and the best qalb, the best heart is qalbus salim. And the Prophet ﷺ told his companions sometimes when they ask, what is taqwa? How do we know where is taqwa? What do we see as taqwa? He says taqwa is not what you wear. Taqwa is not what you say. He says the Prophet touched his left side and said taqwa is here. Taqwa is in the heart.
But stemming from what you have said, because there are some people that say that what I wear does not matter, how I look does not matter.
It does matter.
Only Allah knows what is in my heart. So you find a lot of people doing a lot of things and say, oh, you might just see me this way, I've got a pure heart. It doesn't matter how I look, it doesn't matter what happens is in my heart.
No, the Quran is explicit. The Quran is explicit on how we should act, because Islam is a deen wahala, is a religion and a way of life. We cannot love Allah more than the Prophet sallallahu, because he brought the deen and he explained the deen to us. The Quran has said, laqad kana fi rasulullah uswatun hasana. He said the best example is the Prophet. We cannot fear Allah as much as the Prophet feared Allah.
Yes,
and he taught us how to do it.
Yes, taught us how to do it. And if I might add, I heard something interesting. Like Imam Maliki said that the Sunnah is like Noah's Ark. Those that climb on it are those that are saved.
Yes.
So I now wonder when people say that, I'm only going to stick to the Quran, the Sunnah is not compulsory and all that.
But that means we should fast the way you see me fast. Eat the way you see me eat. Do to your women the way you see me do to my women. He said I am the kindest to them. So if the Prophet ﷺ has come to interpret the Quran, so it is not that because he said taqwa is here does now mean that you can
do whatever you like, and you claim that there is taqwa.
Taqwa is when you decide that you want to obey Allah and hold on strictly to the Sunnah of the Rasul. It's not saying I want to hold on to the Quran and making away or doing away with the hadith.
Yes.
That is not taqwa.
If you are even holding on to the Quran totally, you cannot do away with
the hadith.
Yes,
because it explains some of the things that the Prophet himself did practically while he was alive, and that would even give you an idea of how to go about living your own life. If the Prophet, for example, did an action and this was how he did it, he was an example to mankind. He was a model to mankind. He has exemplified all acts of ibadah. So whatever we are to do as humans, we would always be able to make reference to what he has done during his lifetime. So why would you say, I don't want to stick to the Sunnah, it's just the Quran? He said he has left two things behind for us. That whosoever follows those two, the Quran and the Sunnah, inshallah, will not go astray.
The Quran has even been so expressive and explicit, where it says, Atiullah wa atiu Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. Allah did not say Atiullah and end like that. He said Atiullah, obey me, believe in me and obey me. Wa atiu Rasul, and obey and believe in the Prophet. Wa ulil amri minkum, and the authority over you, if they are doing it right. If they are saying it right, even if they are not saying that, there are ways of course correcting them. But we have to obey them because they are those that Allah has put in authority over us. So the concept of taqullah is so wild and so informative. But it is centered on reverence for Allah and reverence for that which He has made lawful, and abstaining from that which He has made unlawful.
Allah. But now we've talked a lot about taqwa, a lot of person. What does it benefit a Muslim? Why should anybody be aiming to fear Allah? Why should we want to be among the muttaqun? Because in the Quran, Allah said, "Zalika al-kitab la rayba fi hudan lil muttaqin." So why do we want to be among those muttaqin?
Alhamdulillah, one of the reasons why anybody would choose to fear Allah is for human benefits. Allah, when you fear Allah, you will stick to those things that are good. The society would benefit when everybody decides to fear Allah. And besides the society benefiting, the individuals involved actually benefits, and what they benefit is paradise. That is the sole aim of our purpose on the surface of the earth. He has said he has not created man and jinn except for the sole purpose of worship. If that is why we are on the surface of the earth, the only way in which you can actually attain paradise is through the fear of Allah and some other acts of ibadah. So it is very, very important that as Muslims that we fear Allah.
We can also see, you see, there are so many virtues, in having the fear of Allah. Allah has said, whoever do my will, I will do his will. If you fear Allah and you fear him sincerely and in truth, he will do your will. If you come to him walking, it comes to you in speed. So if you do Allah's will and fear him, it will do your will. Another thing is that if you fear Allah, Allah will cause his nur to shine over you. If you see those that fear Allah, those that do what Allah wants, Allah, you see them beautiful. When you see them, you see Allah's nur shining over them. You see them,
Allah's light.
Yes, Allah's light. You see it all covered on them. And then when you fear Allah, Allah causes the shaitan to flee from you. Look at Umar radiallahu anhu. The Prophet ﷺ said, Umar is one of those that fear Allah. And what does Allah do when Umar walks? When Umar walks on the path, Allah causes shaitan to flee from him. Shaitan does not take the same path Umar takes, because Umar is one of those that fear Allah. So when you fear Allah, Allah takes shaitan and shayateen away from you. The shaitan and the jinns, they flee from, because they cannot stand where Allah's nur is standing. No,
it's just like what you have said. Some people might be thinking that probably that is just Umar. It can only happen in those times. But I know one of the scholars of Islam as well. There is this story that is, I can't remember, is it Imam Ahmad, that there was a particular woman that was being afflicted with jinns, and he was asked to come and help him do ruqyah for her, and he said okay. He just sent his shoes with them, that go and tell the jinn in her that this is my shoe, and they would leave. And when they got there to the woman, and they recognized that, oh, this is Imam Ahmad. I think it's Imam Ahmad. I don't know which of the 4 imams it is. I can't remember. I don't want to misquote. And they recognized, and they said, oh, we are going to leave, and they left the woman. And the woman became fine and all that. When after the imam died, those jinns came back, and those people tried to say, okay, let's take the shoe again, probably thinking it was the shoe anyway. And the jinns now spoke that, no, we feared Imam Ahmad. I think it was Ahmad bin Ambal, because he feared Allah. So we fear him. So you people, do you fear Allah? Can you stand? Can you really pious? And
this could also be seen in the life of Prophet Sallam. When there was a day the Prophet Sallam was walking on the street, and then everybody has Kori, everybody has a jinn,
yes, a jinn
and then
companion,
a jinn companion, and then he was walking, and then another man was walking, and then the two jinns were talking to themselves. The jinn of Prophet Sallam was so thin, and as he will become a Muslim, and the jinn of the other man is so fat and so big, and the jinns were discussing, and the jinn of the other one was saying, why are you this slim, why are you this why are you looking like, he said, I would look like this because whatever the prophet does, I'm not a part of it. When he wants to eat, we don't eat together. He says, I was with shaitan rajim, and I don't eat with him. When he wants to sleep with his wife, we don't have it together. When he wants to sleep, he does his bed and says, the other jinn was not like, we do everything together. We eat together. We sleep together. We bed together. And I have his wife when he's having his wife. Allah. So, it is really a virtue that when we fear Allah and we do his will, we do the things the Prophet has taught us, the dua he has taught us, and how to do it, Allah becomes, he says it becomes our sight in which we see. It becomes our hands, it becomes our leg, because we have imbibed, Islam has become part of us. The Quran is in us, and we are in Islam. So it favors us to fear Allah, because Allah causes his favor on us. When we fear Allah, it commands the whole mankind and the jinn to favor us. That this is my beloved. When we fear Allah, it becomes our friend. Allah says, for those that fear him and do righteousness, I become their friend.
And who is there that will challenge the fear of Allah? Yes, Sister Ruqayya was even telling me earlier about one of the benefits of taqwa, saying, like in Surah Talaq, she's going to expand on that that whosoever fears Allah, Allah will remove him out of every
tribulations, challenges, trials. That's why I always say that the benefits of fearing Allah, it's personally for human gains. if you don't fear Allah, Allah stands a chance to lose nothing.
Allah
And the moment you realize that when I fear Allah, I'm the one that stands to gain something. I'm the one that stands to benefit from this taqwa. Then you will realize that there's obviously no need why you shouldn't even fear him in the first place, because you are the benefactor in this game. So I feel as Muslims, when we fear Allah, it is for our own benefit, and we should fear Allah because it is for our own good.
Just like Surah Talaq has said, Quran says, وَمَا يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَا يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَالِغُ أَمْرِهِ. He says, وَمَا يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلَهُ مَخْرَجًا. For those that fear him, is going to be enough for them. He says it's going to make provisions for them from places they do not even imagine. He says, whoever has said, I want to stand with Allah, I want to do what Allah has said, he said he has made it compulsory on himself to be enough for the person. It favors us to do good, and to think always of what we send forth, because that is doing good. He has said, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha walitanzuru nafsun ma qaddamat ligad wa taqullaha innallaha khabirun bima ta'malun." He said, "Yeah, we should fear Allah, taqullaha walitanzuru nafsun," and we should think of what we send forth. You understand?
So every soul should look at what he has sent forth for tomorrow.
What am I doing? Yes. Am I sure I'm doing the right thing? Am I sure it's good for me to steal my brother's idea? Am I sure it's good for me to snatch my brother's wife? Is it good for me to lie? Is it good for me to do what he does not enjoy me? You think before you do your acts and inactions, so that you do not affect your neighbor. Because Allah does not have a wife we're going to wrong. You do not have sons here. We're going to wrong ourselves to wrong Allah. We're going to favor ourselves to favor Allah. You understand? That is how it is.
Yes, now that we know, we cannot talk about the benefits of taqwa even in this program. It will probably take a whole season, but I want us to now say how practical steps, now that we know that taqwa is very important for us, how can we now start to attain taqwa? Everybody's listening now. What are those little things or those steps I need to start taking if I want to increase taqwa?
Alhamdulillah, one of the things we can do as Muslims is to purify our intention. When you do things, you do it for Allah's sake and Allah's sake alone. When you know that I am giving to A because of Allah, you do not even expect a thank you or a jazakumullah khairan from that person. You have done it for the sake of Allah. When you do things sincerely for Allah's sake, that is actually one of the things we can do to attain taqwa. And another we can do is dhikri, remembrance of Allah. We should try as much as we can to remember him in all aspects of life. When you know that, this office, it is a form of worship to Allah. It's not just because you want to earn some salary or you feel you're a barrister and it's just to go to the court. You are in that course for Allah's sake. It is for Allah's sake, and when you realize that is for Allah's sake alone, then you'll be able to do things the way they ought to be, the way it has been prescribed.
Having the correct intention and doing it correctly, the way Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us, would be steps that move us towards achieving taqwa. Sister Halima, what do you think?
Regularly, my sister is correct and she has said it all. And then number 2, by reading the Quran. You see, the Quran is a flusher of our bad thoughts.
It is shifa wa rahma.
When you read the Quran, it cleanses you of your evil thoughts, your evil deeds. It refreshes you, and then it cures your bad thoughts and thinking.
And to even think that,
and it makes you close to Allah.
Us that the heart rusts just like iron, and to purify it, to polish it, you read the Quran,
you do dhikr, you remember that, you remember death, you do dhikr, you visit the grave. Part of those are one of the things that makes our heart closer to Allah, because when you go to the graveyard and then you see what Allah has done to those before you. They were like you at the time. They were agile, they were working, they were doctors, they were professionals, they were professors. They had more than you had, and you can see them lying down. It is not that if they had power, I'm sure they would not have. It is the Lord that has caused all that He has caused living. Is Al-Hayyu Al-Qayyum. He causes to live and He causes to die. So if we know that death is going to come someday, it makes our hearts close to Allah. Then visiting the sick when you visit the sick ones, you see them lay on the bed. You know, sickness is that only thing that changes your address from Ikoyi Villa, your Aso Rock, and it changes it to please meet me at Bagana General Hospital. Allah can change your address from a villa to an hospital. You know, if you know that Allah that causes a man, a strong man, and fight the whole world to lie down fallow. There was a time I went to visit a professor in the hospital. That was when I knew we are nothing before Allah. In fact, we do not have anything. We do not have any power. Allah has only all power, and we derive the only little power we have from Allah. A professor, an erudite professor, very active and agile, very intelligent, always, you know, ready to work, lying down on the sick bed and cannot even stand on his own. Somebody has to support him to move here and there. And it was also then I remember visiting the hospital could be one of the ways to, you know, fear Allah. And when you go to motherless babies too, you see them, that you have a parent does not mean you are better than these people.
Yes.
You know, and then Allah calls them to come to the world because they have missions too. You know, and then when you also visit the old ones, the old people's home, Allah, the only thing,
or even your own relatives,
that are old. You know, you see that only Allah causes to have strength, and only Allah can cause you to grow old, because old age, Allah reverses the old ones, and He reverses old. That is why Allah said it becomes so difficult for Him to see any of His servant or slave who has been doing Islam, has been worshipping Him from childhood to old age, to ask anything from Him and He will not give. He says, if you worship Allah from childhood and you worship Him till like 70, 80 or 60, and then you can still be on that firm faith of Islam. He said it is embarrassing and shy for Him for you to raise your hand and He do not answer your prayer. So you
all that matters is that God loves me. Beyond my body, it's more to me. I feel best when my soul is free. Just let me be. It's like it or not, but God loves me. Who I am, yeah, can't you see? I feel best when my soul is free. Beyond my body, can't you see? All that matters is that God loves me. Just let me be. It's like it or